Hi guys, today I'd like to talk a bit about inking. It's one of the most important aspects of comic making. As I'm talking, you can see me doing a bit of inking practice over a pencil drawing by Jack Kirby. In case you weren't aware, Jack Kirby is the artist who co-created most of the classic Marvel characters and a bunch of DC ones too, including Granny Goodness here. He shaped the look of American, and by extension, worldwide comic books. I've always wanted to try inking his work. I've seen other artists like James Harren give it a try, and it seemed like a great drawing exercise. I'll probably try this with some other artists' work at some point too. I think this is great practice to get your head around how different artists use their line work to depict things. Every artist is different and has their own quirks, so trying this with different artists' work will teach you a great deal about drawing, and will most likely give you some tips or ideas that you can fold back into your own work too. But let's get back to basics first. A comic doesn't have to have line art nowadays, but typically, bold line work has been associated with comics since they first started being printed. Inking is the step when somebody draws over the pencil-drawn page with ink. A variety of tools can be used. Traditionally, it would be the job for dip pens and brushes in India ink. Both tools lend a unique style to the line. Later on, technical pens and brush pens became commonly used to make comics as well. Nowadays, though, plenty of creators use the traditional methods, but digital methods are available too, using a tablet and stylus with some digital art software.
Just the trace.
No, inking is not tracing, it's finishing. The style of the comic is defined by the ink work. You only have to see several artists try to ink the same pencil drawing to discover what a difference an inker can make. Some great inkers aren't well suited to a certain artist's style, for instance. I've read ongoing series of comics before where they've had to find different inkers to work on different pages by the same pencil artist, and the difference it can make to the look of the work can be absolutely huge. If you're inking your own work, you'll probably have at least a loose idea of how you'd like the pages to look. Energetic and scratchy, soft, smooth brushwork, bold and sharp, it's completely up to you. If you'll be inking somebody else's work though, you'll want to attempt to stay consistent with the look of their usual work. If you're able to talk with them to get a clear idea of their preferred approach, that's usually best. Inking requires as much technical drawing knowledge as the penciler has, and you'll need to make sure that shapes, forms and textures are all clear to the reader. You'll also need to understand how to balance a page with black and white, and how to use these to guide the reader around the page so that they instinctively read the panels in the correct order. A great inker can pick up the slack of a poor penciler, and a poor inker can ruin the work of a great penciler. The impact of an inker is huge. Theirs are the lines that a reader gets to see on the page. I've heard horror stories of inkers receiving pencil pages that are very unfinished, sometimes little more than doodles, with the expectation that they will have to fill in all the details. If you're a penciler, please don't do this, unless you have a great relationship with the inker already and know that they truly enjoy that method of working. Otherwise, you're really putting an unfair burden on their shoulders. Some creators who ink their own work can go straight from roughs to inks, especially in the digital age where an undo is a shortcut key away, but many work over fairly tight pencil drawings. I pencil and ink my work, so I can be a bit more flexible. I don't want to draw the pencils too tightly because I can then lose all the energy in the inking stage trying to stick too closely to the tight lines that are already there. I'll usually ink straight over my own roughs, but it took a long time and a lot of practice for me to get to that stage, and sometimes if I'm struggling, I'll go back and redraw the roughs more tightly before I continue inking. Some days I just need that structure to be more tightly defined for me. Before I move on, I'd love it if you could click the thumbs up and give me a like. It's a tiny thing but would make a huge difference for me. Thank you. So one big inking tip that I give is think about the hierarchy of your lines. So the different lines that you draw should each tell the reader something. They communicate shapes and forms. The way that you draw them communicates a lot as well, so use thick and thin lines for different purposes. I make an outline for a character thicker than the detail lines that I draw within. This is so that the overall shape of the character, their silhouette, will read clearly and stand clear from the background details. The character closest to us should have the thickest outline. Any characters standing further behind should still have a strong outline, but drawn slightly less thick than the character in front. This helps the reader to understand that this character is further back. I would draw background lines thinner still. This isn't the only way to approach inking though. Hergé's clear line style famously kept the line weights the same across his comics, but it's very difficult to pull off well and is a less common approach. Would you be interested in more tutorial-based videos teaching inking techniques? If so, let me know in the comments and give me a follow so that you'll be able to find it if I do make one. And if you'd like to see more inking, check out this video. I think you'll really like it.